Good morning. Welcome back to the Red Mic. Happy Monday. Glad you're here. Today's Red Mic message. Hang in there. It's a good uplifting message for a Monday, don't you think? On my recent cruise, my wife and I spent a day in the Florida Keys, and while we were there, we did what a lot of people do. We wandered into Sloppy Joe's bar. It was one of Ernest Hemingway's. Supposedly, I'm sure it's changed a lot since old Ernie hung out there. Is it touristy? Absolutely. Was it worth it? Yeah. Good food. We didn't drink. So we didn't do the Hemingway thing, but it was fun. Cold drinks, easy stories, nothing wrong with any of it, especially on vacation. There was live music. It was great. Hemingway didn't confuse rest with purpose. He went there to recharge, to rest, to relax. We remember the bar because it was fun. We remember Hemingway because of what he wrote after he got done hanging out, right? He wasn't chasing comfort. He wasn't looking for applause when he was there. And he sure as heck wasn't interested in constant affirmation. He was interested in what remained after the crowd left. Bottle was empty and the work still needed doing. And that's how I'm going to transition into The Old Man and the Sea. If you've ever read it, you know it's not really about fishing. Yeah, it's built around fishing, but Santiago is an old guy who goes out farther than anybody else ever had in his small little boat, and he hooks something bigger than himself, and he fights it for days, alone, exhausted, bleeding. He finally brings it in, and then the sharks come. They strip away the prize, they take the glory. He's left with nothing but bones. But here's the part that culture doesn't miss, that culture misses. Santiago is not a victim. He doesn't ask the sea to recognize him differently. He doesn't relabel his struggle. He doesn't demand the rules change to accommodate his pain. He just rows. He does it. He does the job. He doesn't complain. But today we spend a lot of energy on labels, especially pronouns, as if naming ourselves more precisely somehow changes the weight of the oar or the pull of the current. Hemingway would have been unimpressed. Some would say that he lacked compassion, but I think he understood something that we've lost today. The sea doesn't care what you call yourself. Reality doesn't negotiate. Identity doesn't replace effort. In the movie What Women Want, that same message, if you've ever seen the movie, that same message is in the women-oriented Nike commercial that they did in that movie, which I think Nike missed a big opportunity there. They should have used that for real. But again, the sea doesn't care what you call yourself. In the movie, they said the road doesn't care. Reality doesn't negotiate. Identity doesn't replace effort. Santiago's hands cramp. His back aches. His strength fades. And none of that earns him an exemption. He has to endure anyway. And along the way, he kept thinking about his hero, Joe DiMaggio. Not the headlines, not the fame, but his bone spur, the injury DiMaggio played through. And Santiago kept reminding himself, if DiMaggio can play with a bone spur, I can hold this fishing line. And that's the point. Hemingway admired people who performed while hurting, while fighting through overwhelming odds, who pretended that pain didn't exist, who didn't pretend that pain didn't exist, but they didn't let the pain become the point. DiMaggio didn't ask for accommodations. Santiago didn't ask for sympathy. They asked one question: can I keep going? It's like Rocky. How does that guy keep standing at the end? He just wanted it more. Now, in Sloppy Joe's, surrounded by air conditioning and neon signs, souvenir shirts, that whole mindset, that whole book, that whole manuscript seems foreign today. We've built a culture that hands out participation trophies for showing up, not for success, not for achievement. We treat discomfort as injustice and struggle as something to be renamed away. We look for safe spaces and crap like that. Hemingway would have laughed, maybe cruelly, but I think more importantly, it would have been rather knowingly, because Hemingway knew that dignity comes from the effort, not affirmation. He knew some things matter because you commit to them, not because they feel good. Finishing counted, even when the ending isn't pretty and the sharks take their share. Santiago, despite all of his effort, despite his hard work, he didn't come back with a trophy, but he did come back with proof that he went the distance, proof that he honored the fight, proof that he didn't lie to himself about what the work required. And that's a leadership lesson I think we could all use right now. Now, to pivot a little bit. If you watch NCAA football, here's a thought. The teams playing for the national title tonight didn't get there because it was easy or affirming. They got there because they honored their commitments. They fought through injuries, pressure, criticism, and seasons that demanded more than their own comfort. It's kind of like Santiago and shoulder pads, don't you think? What's your takeaway today? Endurance is a leadership skill. It's not a personality flaw. Labels don't lighten your load. Discipline does. Pain acknowledged is not pain surrendered to unless you do that. Role models should not be perfect, but they should be persistent, bone spurs and all. Finishing matters more than being affirmed along the way. And sometimes the win is rowing back with bones instead of excuses. The old man, he went back out again and again. No applause, no crowd, no guarantees. That's leadership. And that's today's Red Mike message. I hope you found it interesting or helpful. I hope that you will give me a like, a follow, and a share. If you like what I said, tell me about it. If you don't like what I said, tell me about it. Give me some feedback. Let me know what you're thinking on this cold Monday in Austin, Texas. Supposedly next weekend we may even have a chance of freezing rain. So got that going for us. I love you guys. I'll see you again tomorrow. Don't forget, as always, life is short. Drink the bourbon. I'll see you.